Hello, hello, all you beautiful, beautiful people. How's it going? Let me see if I can get any music in here. Oh, play. It doesn't play. Even though it shows that it's on. It's weird. Yeah, this whole thing is weird. Alright, so, welcome everybody to, the new type of stream I'm doing with political facts and stuff of that sort, and then throwing just a tiny bit of chef salt bias in there. But yeah, let's get to it. So today's episode is all about how everything is stolen nowadays. Pretty much everything. Ideas, campaigns, identities, skin color, heritages. Everything is stolen, especially when it comes to apparently the Harris campaign. I'll let you judge for yourself, all right? I'm just going to give you the facts. That's what I think. That's my own personal opinion. I think that pretty much her whole campaign is stolen. But you let me know in the comments, all right? So first off, all right. So let's get to the nitty gritty. So I just want to go ahead and say that democracy is pretty much dead. Democracy is dead. I know the Democrat side keeps saying about protecting democracy and we need to defend it against Trump and all that, but it is literally dead, and I'll explain why. It's dead because they usurped Biden, essentially, and they just selected a different nominee. Now, a lot of people are like, well, what's the difference? Whenever the president goes out, the vice president takes over. But that's not what happened here, is it? He just stopped campaigning to be president next term. That's what happened. He didn't die. He didn't resign or anything. He just said, okay, I'm just not going to try to go for it again. That's completely different than him either getting impeached, resigning, or dying. It's completely different. All right. So, as you all know, in the election process, they have what's called as primaries, especially for the general election. They have primaries to see who are going to be the main candidates to go up to be the selected nominee of the party. And so, Joe Biden, not really campaigning a whole lot during the nominee process because they cut a lot of primaries on the Democrat side. So certain people, not going to mention names, RFK, wouldn't be able to be on the ticket in a lot of these primaries. Yeah. So and then he became the nominee because most of the people voted for Joe over everyone else because a bunch of no names. And so he became the nominee or the presumptive nominee because they haven't even chosen one yet because the DNC hasn't taken place yet. And so he was the presumptive nominee because he won all the primaries and he got all the delegates up until now. Well, so he's the nominee, or at least the presumptive nominee up to this point. And then the debate happened, the infamous debate against Donald Trump this year in 2024. And it didn't go well for him, obviously, if anybody's, been stuck under a rock lately. And what ended up happening is that the Democrats were super pissed, not only because he didn't do well, because he humiliated everyone during that performance. And it's important to know why. Why were they so pissed at him? Well, for one, he didn't do well. He looked weak. He looked like he wasn't in control. And now everyone's wondering who's really in control of the White House, because it sure as hell ain't him. Everybody on the right side knew this. Everybody, America First, even the never Trumpers knew that Biden was gone. His brain was Swiss cheese back in 2020 and even before that. But a lot of the Democrats side, the moderates and the far left, had somehow duped themselves into believing, no, Joe is just fine. He's fine. He's as sharp as ever. If you're listening to Morning Joe, that freaking Bieber, Sesame Street looking dude, he was telling everybody, I think this is the best that Joe's ever been. I've talked to him, we've had conversations. He's sharp. He's with it. He's on. He knows everybody. He knows everything. He's really intelligent when it comes to geopolitical, policy and things of that sort. And he said this like a week before the debate. And then when the debate went off, he had to retract his words and he pretty much lost all credibility. But besides Biden looking foolish, what ended up happening is that it made everybody that had said that Biden was on top of his game look foolish. because everybody was saying how well he was doing. And obviously, that was not the case. The people that were duped before are now taking a really hard look at Biden. And that's why Biden's polls were going down very steeply. And even on top of that, the reason why the Democrats were even more distraught over just Biden now going to more than likely lose the general election was that all of the Senate and House representatives that were coming up for re-election might lose now because now they're tied to Biden. So Biden was basically a rock dropped in the ocean, and the Democrat Party was tied to it. Now they're like, the rope is running out, and they're like, we need to cut this rope now, or else we're all going to sink with this dude. And so, sure enough, they cut the rope, and they convinced Biden, hey, you're not it. Stop campaigning. Say you're gonna drop out. And after he did that, after they cut the rope, they decided, okay, we need a new face. And it's kind of weird that they chose this person because she was a little history on Kamala. She ran in 2020 to be president, and she didn't do well, to say the least. She dropped out before the first vote was cast in the very first state of the primaries. That's how bad she was doing. She didn't get one delegate, not one. And so when the news came out that Biden chose her, everybody was kind of astonished. Like, really? Her? The no delegate, no vote Kamala? That's odd. But then he was going, the first black Indian woman ever to be vice president, even though that part wasn't true either. So it was odd that he chose her. And so now Kamala's out there. And the only thing that's wrong with that is that who voted for her? She was never on any ballot, ever. She dropped out before the first primary in 2020. So she wasn't on those ballots. Did anybody vote for Kamala in the primaries of 2023 and 2024? Did anybody vote for her? I don't think so, because she wasn't on the ballot. So what that essentially means is that democracy was subverted in order to choose who the DNC wanted. And they wanted Kamala for whatever reason. So everybody that cast a vote for Biden, your vote doesn't count. They pretty much said, sorry, we don't trust you to choose who we want, so we're going to choose for you. They think you're all dumb. If the RNC had did this, let's say Trump did get assassinated, right? Back in, July 13th? Let's say he did get assassinated. If the RNC had subverted another primary or emergency primary to choose the nominee, and then let's say they chose J.D. Vance or Vivek Ramaswamy, everybody would be pissed. Even though those are good candidates, or even the guy from Florida. Damn, why am I blanking on his name? Well, the guy from Florida, the mayor of Florida. Everybody would be pretty upset. They'd be like, this is bullshit. I don't want that guy. Why the hell is he in there? Why did you guys just choose? It would have been a big old clusterfuck, and the DNC would have jumped all over it saying, look at the Republican side is eating itself. Well, that's exactly what happened with the Democrat side, except they weren't eating themselves because, they were all upset over not having another primary to choose their candidate. They were upset because they were like, well, we're leaderless now. We're going to lose in November because there's literally not a candidate. But as soon as they chose one, they're like, yeah, Kamala, the chick that never got one vote. The least popular vice president in American history up until a month ago. Yeah, we're going to follow her because she's awesome now. And you guys weren't saying that a month ago or even before that. Certainly not in 2020 when she ran for president. Nobody was saying that shit. Then all of a sudden, it's all heels up for Kamala. And she knows about that a lot, by the way. We're going to go over that a little bit in the future. But yeah, so let's go ahead and go into why this new campaign is just a farce. It really is. All right, let's get to the first part. So there's been a lot of reports that the Kamala Harris campaign is paying people for support. Now, that's what I've heard. I've seen the reports of that, but I want you to see some of the evidence so you can make a judgment for yourself. So I have several examples here. So here we have an influencer, a TikTok influencer, pretty much saying that she has been contacted by Kamala's, campaign team, telling her that they will pay her to go ahead and promote Kamala to the general public. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go ahead and read right here. Breaking: yet another TikTok star has exposed Kamala Harris for offering to pay for social media support. It appears Harris has started taking a more hidden approach after being exposed before. She's now allegedly forcing influencers to sign an NDA prior to getting paid. NDA, if you're not in the know, is non-disclosure agreement, which basically says you're not going to say shit about the transaction and what it's for. That's what an NDA is. And so let's hear it from this girl herself. I'll stop talking.
My entire For You page right now is presidential stuff and the campaigns being AI and what to believe and what not to believe. Just the other day, I received an email for a paid promotion, for me to make a video and post it on TikTok talking about the Democratic side. At the end of this email, it says, if you want to get things going, we'll send over an NDA for you to sign and we'll get started. I know a lot of people get their views and their opinions and their beliefs based off of what their favorite influencers are saying. Just know, they might have been paid to say the things they're saying. My entire For You page right now is presidential stuff and the campaigns being AI and what to believe and what not to believe.
And there you go. There's one such influencer pretty much calling out the Harris campaign for paid support. Now, that's pretty damning, all right? That's pretty damning and even into itself. But this is not the only... You might be saying, well, this is an isolated incident. Maybe it's fake because this girl, maybe the Trump campaign contacted her, right? You never know. All right, so let's go to another one. No, that's the photo one. Here's another one at. Oh, that's just a funny thing I want to show you guys later. Where are you at? Is it towards the end? Oh, here we go. All right, so here's another influencer, streamer, Rolando. Sorry, dude, I don't know about you. I don't watch your content. I guess he's on Kick or TikTok or whatever. Not too sure. But here he is pretty much explaining that the same type of thing is going on, to where the Harris campaign is contacting him, trying to go ahead and do a collab, and he doesn't want anything to do with it because that's not what his channel is about. And he doesn't want to galvanize, his base into, like, getting upset with them because it's all about fun and gaming. So let's go ahead and hear from him. Let's read just the top part. Top gaming clan steamer Ronaldo exposed Kamala Harris for calling his team to request his stream with her. This is around the 6th time Kamala Harris has been exposed for desperate outreach and paying influencers. This has gone too far. Okay, so it's more than 6 at this point. All right, let's hear from him. Let's go back.
But I will tell you one thing. Yo, Kamala Harris, stop hitting my team, you and the Secret Service, to do a stream. I am not doing a stream with any politicians, bro. Yo, Secret Service, stop hitting my fucking team.
Look for the sub.
I'm not doing any stream, bro. Stop. But I will tell you one thing.
Ooh, that's hard. That's difficult to come back from. That seems a little desperate, just in my opinion. You might not think so. 6 times? Wow. Yeah, they really want some. They really want Gen Z support. That's for sure. And I know exactly why they're doing this. If you're not in the know, Donald Trump just did a stream with Aiden Ross, one of the bigger streamers in the world. And Aiden Ross is really big. He has a lot of followers, and so Gen Z is definitely paying attention to when he has special guests on. And he was like pretty much gushing over Trump during their interaction because he supports Trump. And he even says in his stream that if you want certain things for the country, vote for Trump. And he gifted Trump a Rolex. He gifted him a Cybertruck from Tesla. And quite interestingly, even Elon Musk endorsed Trump. And he had a conversation this past Monday. I'll have a stream for that one too on the backlash of the media on that one. So I'll have that one tomorrow. But yeah, dude, like the reason why Kamala is so desperate for Gen Z streamers right now is because Trump is killing it on that front. Gen Z is completely not maybe not completely, but the majority are looking Trump's way and seeing favorability there. So that's why she's so desperate to get on somebody's stream. So that's why she can appeal to that side. But it doesn't seem to be working, at least as of right now. All right, so let's get that one out of there. Okay, let's get that one out of there. There's a few others. Fake accents, we'll get into that. Oh, yeah, the slave owner thing, we'll get into that. Oh, the Willie Brown stuff. If you guys don't know about the Willie Brown stuff, we're going to get into that. That's funny. Okay. Stolen stuff, of course. Oh, yeah, the proof of the stolen stuff. All right, let's just go into the next part. All right, so the other thing that's been going on is that there's been a lot of campaign, hype around Kamala's campaign, that she's gaining steam. She's even overtaking Trump in a few polls, more recent polls, as of, I think it was the 14th, which was yesterday, or the 13th. And it looks like she's overtaking Trump in the key battleground states by a point or more, or tied in some instances. And so everyone's kind of freaking out on the right, like, oh crap, she's gaining steam. But I've always wondered, like, where the hell is this enthusiasm coming from? Like, she hasn't done anything great. She was announced 2 or 3 weeks ago that she was going to be the presumptive nominee. And, that was the hype train. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's gaining even more steam. And then apparently Trump is dropping support. And I'm like, well, he hasn't done anything major to drop support by several points, and Kamala to raise support by several points. She hasn't done any interviews. She hasn't done any town halls. She hasn't made any great promises, except for the one that she took from Trump. I'll get into that later. So I was like, where is this all the support coming from? It seems manufactured. But a lot of news pundits, even on the right side, were like, well, we got to take this as a sign, guys. We got to campaign harder, and, we got to take it as is, which I guess is a good policy to go off of. Even if they're, falsified, you don't want to stop. So, in terms of work ethic, it's good. But in terms of reality, I don't think that's what's actually happening. And I have one pollster that gives a separate opinion from, the mainstream and even the right side of what they're saying. But one of these such things that gives me pause to this support is these weird occurrences going on with AI around the Kamala campaign. So here's one such example. Alex Jones posts this. He didn't create it, by the way, that he just reposted it. Well, her real supporters are as close to NBC as you can get, so AI supporters make sense. As you can see here, Kamala's campaign caught using fake AI rally photos. So this is, from her side. This wasn't anything created on the right. Now, just take a look at this. This is supposed to be one of her crowds at one of her rallies, probably one of the recent ones, either in Texas. No, it was in Texas, either Atlanta or in Vegas. Now, take a look at this guy on the right, just above my screen. What is going on with his eyes right here, man? He got possessed, I guess, during the he got possessed by the spirit of Kamala, apparently, by the in the middle of this campaign rally, because he's looking like he's having ecstasy or something. He nutted to a speech. And then if you look over here by this, and if you take a look at every one of these people's eyes, like, are they all cross-eyed? Did Kamala able to garner the votes of the cross-eyed community? Is that what's going on? Take a look at most of these people in this background and take a look at their eyes. They're all cross-eyed. This one black girl right here in the black dress, look at her eyes. They're cross-eyed. Look at this girl right here on the bottom left in the baby blue suit. Her eyes are like veering outwards. The only one normal I can really see is this chick that's right behind her with the white hair. Looks like she's looking forward. This guy right directly to her right that looks like an eagle's cap on, but it's blue for whatever reason. He has freaking 3 arms. Look at that. He has his arms clasped together on the bottom, and right above that, he has one arm going over the other. She has Mortal Kombat support, all right? She got the support of Goro, apparently. Goro's retired, and this is what he looks like now. And if you take a look to the far left over here with these 2 women with the glasses, it's like this girl to the left of her, like her glasses are like melting in the sun or something. It looks kind of weird and obscure. If you look to the 2 black girls right here in the blue shirt, right above the guy with the right above Goro, their faces are all obscured. It's like, what the heck? It looks like a Picasso painting. What the heck is going on? And then the guy directly behind her to the top right, his face is all smushed. Like if you're looking through a lens that has like, fingerprint oil on it. And then if you look to the top right, there's a guy over here that has a dog's face. What is going on with these photos? Man, it's so weird and off. Either this is AI generated, or she took over Borderlands. That's what's going on. Okay, let's see what else. Jeez, what other crazy stuff can we get into? All right, so let's go ahead and go into this. We might find some other stuff along the way. I'll just keep it rolling, so there's no pauses. When it comes to the border, this is a big issue for a lot of people because obviously what's going on. A lot of cities are suffocating because they don't have the resources. They're turning into Venezuela's, basically. And what happened is that they're getting an influx of illegal immigrants entering their communities, and these illegal immigrants aren't working right now, and so they're just giving them free stuff all over the place. So they're giving them free housing, they're giving them free health care, they're giving them free spending money and food money. And they're suffocating the economy because all of this manufactured support. So now the government's paying all these people, they're running out of money, so now they have to tax the crap out of their current citizens, and the citizens are starving to death economically because now they're paying higher taxes and they're not seeing any benefit from it. And so they're getting pissed. And so the border is a big deal for a lot of these blue states. And so the Republicans already knew about this. They already knew what would happen when you manufacture a bunch of illegal immigrants into a country. What's going to happen. But now the Democrats are starting to learn it too. And so a long time ago, back in 2021, Biden knew about this because there was a big upheaval after he had pretty much wiped away all of Donald Trump's border policies and opened the border up to anybody that wanted to come in, the southern border. And so in order to quelch, the upheaval that people were raising, he's like, okay, I'm going to address this now. I'm going to make Kamala the infamous name Border Czar, to go ahead and tackle the border, figure out why these migrants are coming in, maybe because Biden had promised them the fucking world in the debates of 2020. But besides that, I'm going to give Kamala the reins. She's going to take over. She's the most qualified. And I'm going to, she's going to take care of it. So here's a post right here by Kamala herself on X. POTUS asked me to lead our oh my God, I can't read right now. Lead our diplomatic work with Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras to address the situation at the southern border. We have to address the root cause of migration. Huh. It won't be easy, but it's necessary. You're damn right it's necessary, man. Oh, man. So she took over and was supposed to find the root cause and find a way to stop it. And, at least to a degree. It never happened, man. Like, the numbers about the border are staggering. They're estimating anywhere from 13 to 20 million people have crossed the border in the last 3.5 years. Now, I'm going to give you a few numbers to compare to that to. 13 to 20 million seems like a lot. And a lot of people were like, well, that's over 3.5 years. That can't be that much. Let me tell you what it was prior, and every administration prior to that, really. The average crossing of the U.S. southern border prior to Biden's administration was close to 100,000 a year. Let me say that again. Prior to the Biden administration, for the long stretch of presidents in the modern era, the average border crossings in America through the southern border was close to 100,000 a year. Under Biden administration, it's 13 to 20 million within 3.5 years. 13 to 20 million. That is close to 7 million migrants a fucking year. It jumped from 100,000 to 7 million. That is insane amount of failure when it comes to the border security. And if you're one of these people that don't understand why border security matters, take a look at France, take a look at Europe right now. You tell me that border security isn't a real thing. They're having a lot of problems over there. So much so that the people in charge over there in the EU are threatening their own citizens not to talk shit about the illegal immigrants that entered their territory, or they're going to arrest them, not for punching someone, not from kicking them out of their house or apartment building because they don't pay no fucking rent. No, not for calling them names, for posting about it on social media platforms. They're literally going out and arresting people for posting shit talk on social media platforms. That's how much of a fucking problem it is. So don't give me this shit that open borders isn't an issue. It definitely is. And a lot of these freaking Democrats in these liberal states are feeling the pain. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Okay, so caught in another lie. Kamala Harris is now denying she raised bail money for Antifa and BLM riots, but she forgot to delete this. Okay, so let's put some context in here. So back in 2020, you had the whole infamous George Floyd incident, to where George Floyd was caught using a counterfeit bill at a convenience store. The convenience store owner or employee found out about it pretty damn quickly and called the cops. George Floyd was still in the area, parked in a car doing, I believe it was, what was it, fentanyl. He was either doing fentanyl or he was counting it or weighing it or whatever. It was in the car with him. And so the police show up. This was like 20 minutes later, by the way, so he had time to get the hell out of there, but he didn't for whatever reason. They open up the door. In the trial, they see something in his mouth. So the lawyers were arguing the point that George Floyd put the fentanyl in his mouth after he realized that the cops were approaching his truck. And the amount of fentanyl that he had in his mouth could have killed up to 10 people. Okay? And they did, during the toxicology report, they did find fentanyl in his system. Like enormous amounts of it. They also found COVID in his system, on top of the fentanyl, methamphetamines, and he had history of heart problems. Or was it cardiovascular problems? One of those. And so there was a lot of things wrong with this dude. And so, barring all that, so what ends up happening is that George Floyd ends up dying on the street. Everyone is convinced that the cop did it. And now there's this big upheaval about police brutality, Rodney King, type shit. And so you had the whole movement of defund the police. BLM came out, all in upheaval. The whole system is systemically racist. All the cops are in on it. And so you had the infamous George Floyd riots. Happened in all the big cities: Atlanta, LA, New York, Georgia, Cleveland, all of these stupid liberal states where they were tearing apart their own neighborhoods. All right, I'm just going to say this real quick. Any type of riot is stupid, but it's even more stupid if you live in the fucking neighborhood. And let me tell you why. The reason why it's stupid to riot in your own neighborhood or your own city is because you do that stupid shit enough and the businesses leave because they don't want to keep buying and repairing their fucking their buildings and merchandise that you stole. They're going to leave. And what happens when they leave? All the jobs go with them. And not only do all the jobs go with them, all of that revenue that would have helped the community, stay afloat, the state feels it too. Because now all that taxable revenue that they were getting from that business is now gone. That's hundreds of millions of dollars gone from a major, company. So now that all of that's gone, what is going to replace all of that taxable revenue? The citizen's tree. So you're hit in several different ways. Now you're out services for the common citizens of that area. You're out services, you're out merchandise, you're out convenience. Your taxes are going to go up. Your streets are now unsafe. And your jobs are gone. Congratulations, dumb fucks. You just fucked yourselves. It's so dumb, man. If any of your friends or family members decide, I'm so angry, we should go riot and tear up our own neighborhood. God damn, man, I hope you show them this video. Because fuck. You can't get any stupider than wanting to riot in your own fucking neighborhood. Okay, well, besides all my rant, so what ended up happening is that all these, convenience stores were getting robbed and all this shit, but several people were getting arrested, surprisingly, because all the police were being told to stand down because of the whole George Floyd thing. So several people were caught red-handed and they got arrested. But, it was all under the guise of protesting. Oh, they're just mad because of George Floyd and they're just voicing and acting upon their aggravation. And so a bunch of bleeding hearts like Kamala Harris here and the mainstream media, it's a mostly peaceful protest with the fucking store on fire in the background. Ridiculous. Well, anyways, a bunch of people like Kamala Harris and other people decided, hey man, we're going to go ahead and try to get these people out of jail because all they're doing is exercising their First Amendment. So she was asking people and herself to go ahead and donate money to a certain fund in order to go ahead and post bail for these people so they can get out. And now Kamala is denying this, that she never did that. She never posted a bail for people or asked for them to be posted bail. Well, unfortunately, the internet's forever. And on X, here she is again, Kamala Harris, United States government official. If you're able to chip in now to the MN Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota. Damn. It must hurt to be that dumb. It must hurt to lie your ass off and they get caught. Oh, God. I just showed you, guys. This is her own post from her own account. This isn't fake. I remember her posting this, by the way. So, yeah. Alright, let's go ahead and get in some more stuff. We'll get into the Trump stuff later. Alright, and let's get into some more funny stuff because it's getting too fiery over here. But, yeah, so like we're saying before that Kamala Harris's, campaign is really getting desperate for support. So they're reaching out to everybody that they can. Either through text messages, emails, offers to go ahead and collab and that sort. But even ordinary citizens, So here's one such post right here. By Johnny Midnight. Go ahead and follow him on X. He's pretty funny. We are reaching out from the Michigan Democratic Party to see if we can count on you to help fight back against Donald Trump and his corrupt administration. Ironic. And the person texts back, I would rather be raped by Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy and give birth to a pine cone through my pee hole. Oh man, that would hurt. I don't even want to imagine it. So they text back funny. I have to say that is very funny. I may need to steal that one. Have a great day. Might as well you guys steal everything else. And we're finding out that is literally true in real time. Oh man. Yeah, people aren't. They're not. They're not buying it, man. They're not buying uh, all this fake support that's going around. And some of it might be true. I'm not saying all of it's fake, but the at the extent that they're saying it is, I don't think so. Okay. We'll get into her running mate in a second. But then the other thing that's really killing Kamala, I saw this post on X, and it was asking the question, what is Kamala's biggest problem, or what's her fatal flaw that she has? And in my opinion, what it is her personality. She just seems like a false person, a fake person. Have you ever seen her talk for an extended period of time? If you have, it doesn't ever seem genuine. Like nothing out of her mouth seems genuine. And I'm going to show you a little interview that she did a few years ago. I don't know who this chick is. It looks like it's one whatever. Maybe it's a podcaster. I'm not too sure. But she's asking her basically who's her favorite rapper. And the response is a little off based off the question. You'll understand what I'm talking about right now. So let's go and hear this.
Best rapper alive.
Tupac.
He's not alive. You said he lives on.
But not a lie. I know. I keep doing
You said
Okay, that right there. And people will be like, what's wrong with that? She said Tupac. Okay, so the original question was, what is the best rapper alive? Alive. Maybe she didn't hear that part. Maybe she didn't hear that part. Maybe she said best rapper. Said Tupac. She said the same thing on The Breakfast Club back in 2020, by the way. So maybe she's just consistent, right? But this girl called her out. She was like, I said alive. Well, maybe you mean, alive in spirit, because there's that conspiracy theory that Tupac is really not dead. He's actually living on a secret island he bought or something like that with Jeffrey Epstein or something. But the weird thing is that she calls her out really half-heartedly, by the way, and then Kamala goes, I keep doing that, and she does her famous cackle. Because I think she knows she's like, she just realized how fake she is. She's like, I keep fucking up like this. And that's the playbook for a lot of politicians. When you get caught red-handed, or when somebody goes ahead and like paints you in a box, they've been coached to laugh. You see it all the time. It happened with Hillary Clinton. It happened with Joe Biden. It's happening with her. And she is the worst at it. She is the worst at it. Hillary Clinton was bad. She would laugh at the most weirdest shit. Even when they're insulting her, she's smiling and laughing. Joe Biden does the same thing, but like he half-heartedly smiles but doesn't giggle, and it doesn't go like, too far. Hers is bad because she cackles every time. She doesn't just smile and dismiss it like, yeah, come on. Like it's no big thing, or you should dismiss that. She cackles like it was the funniest thing in the world. It just doesn't hit home. Let's listen to the rest of this.
Listen, West Coast girls think Tupac lives on. I'm with you. So Tupac, keep going.
keep doing that. Who would I say? I mean, there's so many. I mean, there are some that I would not mention right now because they should stay in their lane. But others I
I don't know what that means. I want to know who one of those are.
Keep moving.
Okay,
Keep moving, Angela.
All right. That was not supposed to be a stumper either. What about
Yeah. There's so many. And there's some that I don't want to mention because they should stay in their lane. What the fuck are you talking about, stay in their lane? They asked you who your favorite rapper was, not the rapper that committed a crime and should like perjury himself by you saying his name or something like that. You might put him under the gun by saying his name. Like if he's like, a wanted man. What the fuck? It's like, what? They asked you a simple question. Who's your favorite rapper? And the only person she could think of is Tupac, because he's one of the most famous ones. I would have gave her some of the benefit of the doubt if she had said Biggie, because maybe it would have been different from her previous answer. But no, she says Tupac again. And she even outs herself saying, I keep doing that. Like, no. No, girl, no, woman. No, this is not the way. Like my man, the Mandalorian says, this is not the way. Okay, it's not the way. And then when she lightly presses her on it, come on, I'm not gonna let you get this off. No, who's your favorite rapper? And she goes, keep moving, because she can't answer the fucking question. She can't answer it because she doesn't know any rappers. That's not her world. She's not part of that culture. And it's evident. Look how she speaks. Look how she dresses. She doesn't have the mannerisms of somebody from the hood or grew up in a rough neighborhood. She grew up in Canada and in California. The most liberal, lefty, fucking privileged shitholes ever. And I should know. I live in California. I live in Huntington Beach. I know what it's like out here. I see a lot of fake-ass people all the time. And they don't act like they're in the hood unless they're pretending. And it's cringe as hell. Yeah. That's how she's acting like. Somebody pretending to be from that neighborhood. And anybody from those neighborhoods, they could spot a fake like that. Just like that. Spot a fake. And it's insulting. They get pissed off if you ever go to their neighborhood and you act like you're from there when you're really not. Ask Eminem, the guy that hates Trump, what he thinks about people that claim to be from a hood when they're not. He tears them apart. Why isn't anybody doing that to Kamala on the left? A few people have come out. I've seen a few videos of people calling her ass out. You're not from here. Don't act like you are. She's over there buying records from, jazz studios and shit like that and coming out from black artists and stuff like that, trying to garner support. It's like, you're not listening to this stuff. You can't even name one rapper. Because you don't know that world. Stop being fake. It's evident. Man. Okay, and then here's another guy. I thought this was funny, though. Because apparently this guy lives in a U-Haul. Like, you tell me that that's not a U-Haul truck. Like, I don't know if he's, really, really upfront about it. But that to me looks like a U-Haul truck. It's too small. It's not deep enough to be an 18-wheeler. Unless, of course, he's right in the middle. Like, he put it set up right in the middle. But then that'd be a weird place to set it up. Put it right in the middle. Because that camera looks like it's on a wall. It doesn't look like it's on a tripod. Because when he hits his fist on the table, the camera just jostles a little bit. If it was actually on a tripod, that thing would be like jumping all over the place. Because the whole truck would be moving from his hitting. But it would be a little bit more stable on the wall. But regardless of that, this is just another example of him coming out and exposing Kamala's campaign, trying to reach out to do a collab. Because she's in desperate need of Gen Z support right now. So you can read it right here. Kai Sinat says he's been getting calls from the Kamala Harris campaign and the Secret Service for a possible collab and stream with Kamala, and says he wants no part of politics and isn't going to involve himself, which is a very good motto for his own platform, because his platform has nothing to do with politics. So it's a smart move, because politics is very, very galvanizing. You're either for one side or the other. It's like the Sith Lord war out here. If you're not with me, you're fucking against me. That type of shit, unless you're libertarian. And those guys are more Sith Lord than anybody, because they don't give a fuck about... I don't care about any of your sides. I hate all of you. Let's see what he has to say.
Be in a penthouse in New York. Then on top of that, I got the fucking Secret Service calling me 5 times, nigga! I don't know goddamn shit about politics, my nigga. I don't know nothing.
Oh, shit.
I'm gonna keep it a second.
Oh, it wasn't over yet.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
Okay, so I was wrong about that. It wasn't on the wall. It was actually connected to his table, because it actually fell. So he got me off of that one. All right, so let's listen to the rest.
I don't give a fuck. Okay? Listen, I had a bad bitch that I've been trying to get on for like the last 2 years that I haven't spoke to in like a year. I haven't spoken to this girl in so goddamn long who gonna have the audacity to text me, we need you a part of the campaign. At first I was thinking she was talking about like a game, a video game, like a Modern Warfare game, or some shit. Or if not that, a clothing brand. I'm like, what campaign? Shorty gonna say, we're not gonna get into details.
We all know what you're talking about, man.
Right now, if there's some way, somehow, something was to go into where I do the stream of politics, I'm going to be 100% honest.
So he didn't say names, but he just said Secret Service. Who does Secret Service protect? They protect the president, vice president, former presidents. They don't protect senators. So who's he talking about? He's talking about a chick. There's only one. So
I'm going to sit on my stream and say, why did you guys call me? Like, you know, I don't know. I've never did anything with politics. And these blogs are like trying to say, yo, we gotta do this shit, Kai. And it's all the top blogs. And I'm like, bro, since when did niggas kill?
since when? It's because it's an election year, buddy. Do you not know the cycle? All the bullshit happens in an election year. All of it. Every bad thing you can ever think of to happen, because you need something to fix immediately. So this is the cycle of the government. It could be both sides, by the way. Whoever's in power. So what ends up happening in an election year is that when there's going to be a problem, a very serious problem that happens, and it's going to be the people are going to get upset. The government's going to let it escalate and, ferment till it reaches a boiling point. And then they step in and say, we're going to promise you the world, that we're going to take care of it. It's going to be better than ever. During that time, people seem hopeful. They seem a little bit more spirited. Yes, this person's going to do it. They're going to save us. And then they vote for that person in. And then after they get in, like, they put a Band-Aid on it. Doesn't solve the problem. They just put a Band-Aid on it. Oh, immigration's getting too much? Okay, we'll close the border for like a week or two. Then leave it wide open after that. That's exactly what's happening right now. The border is a huge issue. The Biden campaign and Harris went back to Donald Trump's policy, as it is at the moment. And they're like, look, see, we're working on the problem. We're solving it. It's all good now. I guarantee you, as soon as the election's over, let's say they do win, that border's opening right the fuck back up. And if you're wondering why they would do this, why would the Democrats and anybody want to have millions of people from different nations come into the United States? Well, there's something called the Great Replacement Theory, or conspiracy. The Great Replacement Conspiracy. If you want to know why somebody could possibly want this to happen, look that up. It might open your eyes to, what possibly could be going on. All right. So yeah, it's just another guy, doing his thing, his side hustle or his main hustle, and just living his life. And then all of a sudden he gets an offer to, do some positive press for Kamala Harris. It's a little bit sad. Okay, so this is like actual documentation that we're going to go over right now of this manufactured support for the Harris campaign. So this is from Johnny Midnight. I suggest you guys go follow him. I do. On X. It says, Kamala Harris has been busted for paying influencers and celebrities $20,000 to attend the DNC convention in Chicago. Basically, Kamala has to pay people to like her. We're seeing several examples of this so far. And here is actual documentation right here. Let's go ahead and read this. Any A-list influencers, celebrities who like to attend the DNC will get flights, hotel, credentials to the convention, exclusive invites to private parties and events happening during the week in Chicago. Also, I'm seeking top celebrities to do a post, and the budget per creator is around 20K, but we'd be happy to talk through it. There's anyone with a bigger influencer messaging aligned. What DNC, where Chicago, dates August 18th to the 24th. This money is being paid for the required social media post and attending the event in Chicago between the dates. Selected guests can stay one night or all nights. Nothing else is required. I'd love to extend this opportunity to you and any other clients you think the DNC should consider. To be considered, please respond with your name or whatever. Okay, so let's see what's in this video. So this is the request that's being passed around apparently, and they got a hold of it. Of that. And it was August 18th. That's this Sunday. So it starts this Sunday all the way, I guess, through the week. So yeah, if you're an influencer and you want to get paid 20K, hit up Kamala's, campaigns team. They'd be lucky to have you, or happy to have you, I should say. But for anybody else that actually wants to hear, that thinks that she's garnering legitimate support, this is proving otherwise. Sorry to say, this is proving otherwise. All right, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, and like I was saying before about her personality, I think that's her weakest point. The reason being is because she does dumb stuff like Hillary Clinton used to. Now, there's this one famous quote from Hillary Clinton when she went on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God. I hate that fucking name, dude. I hate that name. Well, the Breakfast Club. And she was talking to the host, and he had asked her, what do you got in your purse? Because they were talking about, I think what their, community and people have in their purses or in their wallets, because, sometimes it's hairy, something that they keep around with them at all times. And she went out and said that she carries hot sauce in her purse. Now, a lot of people of a certain neighborhood, they love hot sauce. And so they keep it on them pretty much at all times. So whenever they eat or they go out, they take it with them because that's like their favorite sauce. And so a lot of people theorized, or they pretty much guessed at that. I don't think so. I don't think Hillary Clinton eats hot sauce like that. And so, a lot of people didn't believe it. And she did a lot of pandering and stuff to certain communities in order to garner their vote. And unfortunately, Kamala is doing it too. When you hear her talk, she seems pretty straightforward, enunciates her voice clearly, even though she doesn't know what she says half the time, and that she does a lot of word salad stuff when she's trying to articulate a point. But she talks very succinctly, right? She talks very clean, very straightforward, and she talks like she's doing a job interview, because she's trying to be the president of the United States. You want to sound professional. You tell me, how does she sound in this rally that I'm going to show you the clip of, all right? Try to hear it.
Hold on. You know what? Here, hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We're going to beat them in November. Okay? We'll beat them in November. We'll handle that. Hold on. You know what?
Did you catch it? I caught it. Did you catch it? It was just really two words. Dat and November. Dat? She doesn't talk like that. She doesn't talk like that. Not dat. That. She's not from those neighborhoods. She doesn't have that culture instilled in her from years of experience. Why is she talking like that? Because she's trying to placate to them. She's trying to seem like, she's a sister. She's not. Anybody from those areas should be kind of insulted. It's like, why are you trying to act like one of us? Just be yourself. We like you for you. Just be yourself. I don't know, man. Let's hear it again. In case you didn't hear it, I told you what to look out for. Let's hear it again.
Hold on. You know what? Here, hold on. Here's the thing. The courts are going to handle that. We're going to beat them in November. We're going to beat them in November. Okay? We'll beat them in November. We'll handle that. Hold on. You know.
Oh, man, I'm sorry. She just doesn't come off as genuine, man. That's not you. Stop trying to be something you're not. It just comes off as desperate. And this guy, John, right here, posted this. Kamala Harris is putting up a fake black southern accent in Detroit, Michigan. The courts are going to handle that. We going to beat him in November. This is blatant disrespect for black people. She thinks black people are retarded. Unfortunately, there's a saying I like to say about the Democrat Party of what they do, the way they move. And this is it. The Democrat Party cuts off their ear to spite their face. I'll say that again. The Democrat Party cuts off their ear to spite their face. So what does that mean? What that basically means is that they just go forward. I'm just going to do it. Okay? I don't care what the backlash is. I'm just going to do it. Because nowadays, people's attention spans are so damn small that as soon as something happens, either they like it or they hate it, but they don't pay attention to the little subtleties. And by the time they realize it, it's gone. Something new happened. Okay, I forgot. Doesn't matter. And unfortunately, that's how the new generation, was it Gen Z? That's how they are. They have no attention span whatsoever. As soon as something happens, I hate it. Ice cream. It's like that dog from I forget what that Pets. Is it Pets? The dog is like, squirrel. That's how Gen Z is. Unfortunately. Okay. All right, and this, I can't believe this is still a thing in 2024, but there's still a lot of people, BLM included, that think that black people should get reparations for slavery that happened over 170 years ago. And people are like, well, it was 170 years ago, but it still hurts. Who? Everybody from that era is gone. Who does it hurt? Not you. You never went through it. And let me give you a bit of a history lesson. Everybody was slaves. Everyone. I have part Native American and Mexican in me. My people were slaves. Indians were slaves. And so were the Mexicans when Columbus came over, and the Spanish. My ancestors were slaves. Did you hear me bitching about it? No. Because I never went through it. I was never a slave. You were never a slave. I don't care what color you are. Chinese, Cantonese, Filipino, Jamaican, African, Ugandan. I don't give a fuck. None of you were slaves. Maybe in Africa. If you came over from Africa, you could possibly have been a slave, by the way. Pretty much everywhere around the world, slavery has been abolished, except in a few areas. Can you guess which ones? By, me talking? Which is one of the ones that still have slaves? For extra credit, I'll give you a hint. It's Africa. It's Africa. Africa still has slaves, people. You guys want to, tear the white people apart, tear apart the Europeans, tear apart the French, tear apart the Italians' ancestors because, they bought slaves. They didn't even capture them, by the way. They bought them. They didn't capture them. They bought them. You know who caught the slaves and made them into slaves in the first place? Africans. Bit of a history lesson there for you. Oh, God. These people are... Unfortunately, a lot of people are just not in the know. And unfortunately, it is... it's not coincidence, by the way, that you don't know this stuff. This is intentional. History has been made by people that want to convince you you're a perpetual victim. And the reason for that, in my opinion, is because they want you to feel like you always need the government to save you. You're always going to need them in every aspect of life. So if you look at a lot of, your Democrat leaders' policies, and you look at it through the frame of my Democrat leaders, they make my life miserable, so I'll always need them to fix it. And you look at it through that lens, it starts to make a lot of sense, a lot of the policies. Even though it doesn't help people, it's all Band-Aids, but it's never actual solutions. It starts to make a lot of sense when you look at it through that lens. Okay. Back to the whole slavery thing. So, people are stilling up people about slavery. They want reparations and all this stuff. Well, guess what? Kamala's own family owns slaves. And I'll show you the post that proves it. And this is PolitiFact, by the way. This is not right-wing, information center. This is left-wing information center. PolitiFact is totally left-leaning. Okay, so here we go from Salty Texan. Black votes aren't voting for slave owners. Kamala Harris. New in a blow to far-left Democrat narrative, Kamala Harris' father, Donald Harris, is descendant of slave owner Hamilton Brown, a man born in Ireland who enslaved people in Jamaica and managed plantations there. And guess what Kamala is? She's Jamaican. So her family enslaved her own people. Looking at claims Kamala Harris is the descendant of a slave owner, in Reflections of a Jamaican Father, Donald Harris, an Emirates economics professor at Stanford University, recounts both his childhood in Jamaica and visits he made to the country with his own children. Recalling his family history, he also said that he is the descendant of a slave owner, Hamilton Brown, a man born in Ireland who enslaved people in Jamaica and managed plantations there. Okay, so it was basically a follow-up reading. So yeah, this isn't disputed. Nobody's disputing this, by the way. They're not like, no, that's false, that's fake. It's fake news. Okay, that's why your ratings are doing terrible. Okay, it's fake news. Fake. No, this is absolutely verified true. Okay? Everybody's swallowing this pill that this is a real thing. PolitiFact, the left-leaning publication, is saying it's fucking true. Okay? So, yeah. So if you're like one of these people that hates slave owners, oh, they're so diabolical. The founding fathers, they were criminals. They weren't writing the laws and the Constitution for us. This is not our country because they weren't having us in mind when they wrote it. Well, you sure as hell should have been voting for Kamala Harris because her family owned slaves. Oh, man. And by the way, I'm one of these people. I'm not saying I don't condemn condemn Kamala for being a slave owner, by the way. I don't. Like, the sins of the father shouldn't be passed on to the sins of the son. So I don't blame Kamala for something that her ancestors did. That's old. It's old news. I don't care. I don't care if she enslaved Mexicans. I don't care if it was, Native Americans. I don't care if it was my family back in the day. I'm here now. All that meant is that we overcame those adversities and I was able to garner a life for myself. Thank you, ancestors, for being the real people and being people that didn't give up. Thank you very much. That's what all of you that were ancestors that were former slaves should be fucking thinking. Thank you. Instead of being hateful towards everyone, just be thank you, ancestors, for never giving up. Because your choices made me who I am today. It gave me the opportunity and it gave me the possibility of becoming who I am. Come on, man. Okay, let's see. Teacher. No, that was too soon. No, too soon. Okay, so this is just some more damning evidence against Harris. All this is going to be coming out in the next in the next month or two. I guarantee it. Trump is going to hammer this home. And a lot of people are going to say this is the bad move. Don't be in attack mode. But people need to know this stuff. They do, man. So Kamala Harris's background has a lot of skeletons in the closet. A hell of a lot of them. You're going to end up finding out this stuff sooner or later. So be prepared for all of you Harris supporters, man. And a lot of you might blow this under the, sweep this under the rug. Who cares? That was in the past. But it's still going to leave a sour taste in your mouth, man. So let's go ahead and take a look at this guy, Willie Brown. He was a judge in California at the time. And he worked closely with Harris. Very closely. So let's see what he has to say about Kamala Harris.
And you got Queenla Imhoff in there.
Oh,
You know who Imhoff is?
brutal.
Yes, you do.
Who?
Mrs. Imhoff, Vice President of the United States, who goes by her maiden name,
Miss Kamala?
Kamala Harris. She's got 2 Jewish children she adopted. She married a Jewish husband who's got a interesting.
I'm scared to talk about Kamala Harris. I'll let you have that one.
She's a witch, and she is a corrupt witch. She's been corrupt her whole life, and she fucked her way to the top.
Oh my God. And then you're wondering, well, Willie Brown, how would he know this? How could he possibly know this? Well, Willie Brown, like I said, was a judge at the time when he knew Harris in California, and he appointed her to several positions. He's the one that actually got her started in governmental work. That's right. Willie Brown got her started in governmental work. And you might be thinking, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Well, he was having an affair with Kamala at the time that this was happening. He had a wife and kids at the time. I think he was 60. Kamala was in her late 20s or 30s or early 30s at the time that this was going on, that the affair was happening. And that's how she got started. That's how she got appointed to these jobs in the government. And he doesn't deny this. He says it openly. You can find interview after interview of him slamming Kamala Harris. There's pictures out there. There's video of them together. This is not disputable. Okay?
They used to detail this witch in the LA Times with her sexual escapades. She fucked damn near everybody trying to get up. She used to be a frat hoe when she was at Howard. And she ain't black. You know,
I ain't got nothing to do with this, Miss Harris.
Nah, I mean, well, don't, but she's
I don't know. I'm just listening.
Well, here's the thing. I actually met her father in Jamaica. I was the guest, sat at the Governor General's table, and he was a professor.
Yeah, guys, that's pretty damning. That's pretty damning testimony from Judge Willie Brown there. Oh, man. Yeah, I think, to be in all honest, when I heard that she was nominated to be the nominee, or chosen to be the nominee, I should say, I thought that they threw her to the wolves. I was like, there's no possible way she can win. Not with all the baggage that's on her. And I started to waver on that over the last week, hearing all this news that she's garnering support, and the media is doing a really great job of hiding everything, keeping her out of the limelight. No interviews, no one scheduled, no off the cuff questions or speeches and stuff like that. Just stay on point, say what we tell you to say, and you'll make it through this. It's not gonna work, man. Not with the amount of shit that's on her. I think the Democrat Party basically made her a sacrificial lamb. I think that's what they did. And I don't think she's gonna win. Trump's gonna win. I think he's gonna beat her pretty convincingly. They're gonna try to do their own little shenanigans things again, but it's not gonna be a repeat of 2020. It's not. And I just think they threw her to the wolves. And I think they're gonna use this as look, they stopped us again from making the second time those evil Republicans, MAGA people, stopped from a woman from achieving the highest office in this land. How dare they? And then they're going to use that to promote the next candidate next year. Which that would only be the case if it was another woman. But they'll have to see if any woman besides Harris has any popularity. I mean, Harris doesn't have popularity either. They just installed her, and everybody's like, "Yay!" Well, I'm sorry, you people are sheep. You're sheep, man. If you thought that, if you jump from Biden to Harris like that on a whim because they told you to, you're sheep, man. Sheep. Ugh. Let's see. And here's a little. Let's get into some more funny bunnies on this one. This is Chuck Schumer. If anybody knows, Chuck Schumer is I believe he's in the House of Representatives, and this guy like panders like nothing else. He's the guy that famously said he was giving a speech, and it was like there was a big upheaval about the abortion issue. I think it was a reversal of Roe v. Wade. And like all the talking points were about women's reproductive rights and all that stuff, and women should be more included in a lot more male spaces, and they should have equality into everything and all this crap. And he was saying a prayer, I think, live, and you know the common saying after a prayer is, "Amen, Amen." And he stupidly said at the end of a prayer, he said, "Amen," and "a woman." Yeah, he said that. A woman. Amen is a Hebrew saying. It actually has a meaning. So him thinking it meant amen, as in male, is just dumb, man. He is way more fake than Kamala. If this guy ran for president, he wouldn't get one vote. I'm convinced of it. But let's see what anybody else thinks. This is in New York, by the way. It says right here, Chuck Schumer gets destroyed during a 2024 Dominican Day parade in New York City. So this is Dominican people here.
Hey, Chuck, you know Dominicans actually hate your guts, right? Because you're a scumbag. You know that, right? You ruined New York. You're a loser. You're a loser, buddy. You're a loser.
I want you to take a look at his face after he says you're a scumbag. It's hilarious because he's all smiling, and then right after he says it, drops it.
Hey, Chuck, you know Dominicans actually hate your guts, right? Because you're a scumbag.
He just dropped it like that, man, which I don't blame him. I don't blame him for that one. It's just funny to see. I had to add that in there. It's hilarious. And so let's go ahead and move into another topic. Let's go ahead and go into like the Trump stuff. So I just didn't get why Trump was losing so much support. I think he was trying to be more moderate. He was going after Kamala in attack mode, and people were like, "Well, look to the future. Don't try to just attack her," and things of that sort. And come up with some new stuff. But since we're 3 months away from the campaign, you don't want to fire everything off, in the first salvo. You want to save some things. So I kind of get what they're saying, but I don't think that alone would have dropped his enthusiasm that much, the way that they're claiming it is. But a lot of people online are getting really upset, especially over his interview with Elon Musk, and so they're trying to tie him to Project 2025, which he said repeatedly has no connection to. He didn't help make it. He didn't help fund it. And the Democrat side are just like, well, a lot of these people that are part of it, they're like on your side, and they were part of your former cabinet. So, obviously you know about it. And he's like, no, I don't. They're not part of my campaign now, so why would I know about it? And so here's one of these TikTokers trying to bash Trump's agenda, like his actual agenda that's on his website. So let's go in and hear what she says. And like, it's kind of genius. People pretty much saying that all you're doing is like making new ads for Trump with like reactors. So the Gen Z is getting a part of it too. So it's kind of funny. So let's take a look.
Wonder what Trump will actually do if he gets back into office? You don't have to speculate because he calls his plan Agenda 47. And spoiler alert, it's scary as shit. Here are some of the worst ideas we're in store for if he wins in November. 1. Attacking immigration. Trump's anti-immigration policies will be even worse the second time around. He's promised to end birthright citizenship, enlist an army to round up and deport millions of undocumented immigrants, and deploy thousands of U.S. troops to the southern border. 2. Changes to the education. Attacking immigration. Trump's anti-immigration policies deport millions of undocumented immigrants and deploy thousands of U.S. troops to the southern border.
That doesn't sound bad to me. That sounds like we needed it. And I think a lot of people in liberal cities would be happy with that too, with the way things are going.
2. Criminalizing LGBTQIA plus Americans. Trump says he'll ban gender-affirming care for trans kids and prevent schools from helping kids through their transition. He wants to forbid schools from even teaching anything about sex and gender that diverges from the far-right's idea of the nuclear family. 3. Overhauling education. Agenda 47 includes huge changes to the education system. He wants to give huge benefits for homeschooling to indoctrinate kids with Christian nationalism, incentivize teachers to carry guns in their classrooms, further crack down on affirmative action, and
yeah, so why wouldn't you want to go ahead about Christians, Christian nationalism, indoctrinate them? They're being indoctrinated right now into your lefty hellhole transgenderism and socialism and communism. That's what they're being indoctrinated right now. How are we doing economically, by the way? How's the social order, by the way? People are no more divided than ever. Race relations are all-time lows. Is it helping us? Are we becoming more healed through your process that's been instilled for the past freaking 100 years, practically, since the 1960s? How about feminism? How's that working out for the ladies? 1 in every 4 women are on antidepressants and antipsychotics at the moment. Women are reporting more unhappiness than any time in recorded United States history. Our birthing rates are in the fucking toilet. We're actually losing more people that are being born. So maybe we should go a different direction. Maybe we should go back to the Word of God. Because back in the 1950s, it wasn't that bad. We were actually thriving during that time. New inventions were getting made. People were happier, able to afford a home, on a one income salary. It's pretty damn nice back then. But the women will tell you, oh, we didn't have freedom. You were pampered babies. You had to do whatever the fuck you wanted. Oh, we had to take care of the kids, so we were stuck at home. Oh, yeah, it's so fucking terrible to be around your own kids and take care of them and be able to go ahead and shape their minds with your values and standards and principles. How fucking terrible. Such shit, man. Such crap. Yeah, girls. Go ahead and go work for a company that couldn't give 2 fucks about you just as long as you help them make the bottom line or exceed it. And then when you're no longer useful, they'll drop your ass at the drop of a dime. Yeah, that sounds much more appealing. But I'll be able to afford all my own stuff so I don't have to rely on a man. You rely on men fucking anyways, ladies. Sorry to say, you rely on men anyways. Now I pay for all my own stuff and I'm a boss babe. Who changed your tire? Who cut your grass? Who fixed your washer when it breaks? Who comes and saves you when there's danger around? When someone steals your purse, who's the one to stop them? If it ain't a boyfriend, it's a cop, and more likely male. How about the oil that you pump into your gas tank, or the gasoline that's derived from oil? Where's that come from? Oh, from men working hard. How about the lights in your house? How does that work? Oh, from the men working the electronic jobs. How about the roads you're driving on? Who's paving those roads? Oh, it's all the men. Women, you rely on men every fucking waking minute of your lives. If it wasn't for men, you'd be dead. I'll extend an olive branch here. I will. Men need women. We do. Why do we need women? Well, to ensure that there's a next generation. Men cannot have kids. That is where we are completely at the mercy of nature, at God's will. Only women can have kids. In order to have a future for our race, we need women. That's absolutely true. They're more nurturing than us, so the first couple of years of development in a child's life is very essential that women are there in order to go ahead and nurture them. As long as they do nurture them. Men are there to teach kids life lessons and discipline. That's why men are there for. So yeah. Oh my God. Let's go ahead and move on.
And destroy crucial DEI departments at colleges and universities. 4. Restoring racist.
Okay, DEI. This is a major thing nowadays. Why is DEI a problem? A lot of people think that it's a great thing to have because it helps those minority communities that they think are falling behind or not where they should be, to prop them up and give them a chance, give them an opportunity to go ahead and get in those positions that are sought after, highly valuable positions. Well, there's a few problems with that. Basically, what that ideology is the was it? It's like the ensurement of outcome, or equality of outcome. That's the name of it. Equality of outcome. So what that basically means is that everybody should be on the same playing field when it comes to a certain job or career. So let's take a very sought after job and be like what would be a doctor. Let's say doctor. Okay, so we want every race to have the same number of doctors across the board. Okay, you want that to be a reality. How would you implement that? Okay, so in the natural market, people that want to be doctors, they go in, they go to schooling, they graduate, they go to post-grad, they do their licensing, they pass their tests, they go to do their residency, and then from there, they try to get tenure and to be like, one of the top doctors. The problem with that is that it's a very strenuous process and it costs a lot of money. Not everybody's going to be able to do it. Whether you're well off or not. Things fall your way or they don't. Some people are going to fall off. And more likely, if you're in one of these minority communities that unfortunately are not good at handling money, it's going to be a lot harder for you to go ahead and go through the entire process. Somebody that's well off, that has a family that's connected, it's going to be an easier way for you. That's just the reality of life. But according to these DEI people, it's like, well, that's not fair. We're just going to install them that way. All these companies out there, these hospitals, you better be hiring black people. You better be hiring Indians. Better be hiring women in these positions. Quality of outcome. Come on, guys. Everybody gets a fair share. Well, the problem with that is that when you do that, you're literally becoming discriminatory. So what that means is that you're excluding everyone else. That's why we had civil rights for exclusion, segregation. That's what you're implementing by doing these DEI policies. You're excluding everyone else. Only a black person could get hired this time because we don't have enough black people. Okay, well, that means everyone that isn't black, you don't even get a fucking chance. Your opportunity is taken away from you. We're giving it to them because it's their turn. That sounds pretty familiar. When does that stop, by the way? When you reach a certain quota? What if the quota never gets met? There's just not that many people applying. Well, the quota's going to stay there then. Sounds kind of familiar. Didn't the KKK and, Jim Crow, didn't they have similar policies? Only whites in this bathroom, blacks, sorry, it's not your turn yet. You don't get to go into these bathrooms yet. You can't vote. You don't have the literacy, levels yet. You need to have a certain literacy level. And we're not going to help you, by the way. So, yeah. Equality of outcome, DEI, is discriminatory. You're excluding everyone else when you do that. And then on top of that, you don't get the best of the best when you do that shit. Okay, you have to have a black person. Or you have to have an Indian. Let's say Indian. You have to have an Indian there. Okay, so that means that you're only pulling from one set of group of people. But let's say this group didn't have a good pool this time. And the most you can get is an average a guy with average intelligence that does average on the tests, average on scores, average on productivity. But yet every other race has great applicants. Great applicants, top of the field. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. We're going for Indian this time. All you guys can get fucked. All you top contenders, the top of the, the best of the best in those fields, you can get fucked. Try again next time. It's not your turn yet. Discrimination, man. Segregation. And then what do you end up with? Somebody that might not even be qualified for the role or the position. They do horribly. But because of your DEI bullshit, oh, we can't fire them. They're a minority. That's discriminatory. They might sue us. Because, maybe they're like, oh, you don't have enough black people here. You're discriminating against Indians or black people or whatever. And so they fail upwards. Okay, they suck at their job, but we can't fire them, so let's promote them. Okay, they go to even higher position that they're unqualified for, and they do even suckier job at it, and the entire industry starts crumbling from within. Because you got a freaking, what would you say? What's a dipshit? Like what was that guy from Game of Thrones? That little shit. The teenage king. I forgot what his name was. Joffrey. You get a Joffrey in your company. Fails upwards. He was selected, and he can't do shit. And everybody always has to cover for him because he doesn't have any ideas of his own. Yeah, DEI. That whole policy should be abolished. It doesn't help anybody, especially the people that's claiming to help. It doesn't help them.
His crime policies. Criminal legal system reform will be off the table if Trump becomes president. He promised to bring back racist policies like stop and frisk and other ineffective and discriminatory tough on crime tactics that have failed in the past. He also wants to increase protection.
When? Come on, you gotta give me even a bit more. Some context. When? Are you talking about 1994 bill with Bill Clinton and Joe Biden? Are you talking about that one? The president that you advocated for? Yeah, he introduced that bill that incarcerated a bunch of blacks that Kamala Harris tried because she was the DA at the time. Are you talking about those two? Your current president and vice president? Are you talking about that type of harsh on crime tactics? You're killing yourself here, lady. You're killing yourself. This point that you're making, it doesn't help you at all. Look up the 1994 crime bill by Bill Clinton and Joe Biden. And the one that enforced those rulings on those crimes was Kamala Harris in California. You can't make this shit up, man. Can't make it up. It's coming full swing to bite them in the ass. Beautiful.
Protections for power abusing police while rolling back hard-fought for reforms and institute the death penalty for low-level crimes like drug dealing. 5. Weaponizing the government.
That's false, by the way. Not for drug dealing. That's for human trafficking. I think it's sex trafficking is what he wants the death penalty for. Specifically kids. Child sex trafficking is what he wants the death sentence for. She misspoke there.
The scariest part might be Trump's threat to more or less dismantle the federal government. If he gets back in office, he's going to purge anyone who could possibly stand up to him and replace them with MAGA loyalists like Stephen Miller. He's going to prosecute his political enemies using traditionally independent orgs like the DOJ as his own personal weapon.
That's ironic. That's hell of ironic. Who's being prosecuted right now? Who's in jeopardy of going to jail at the moment? Is it Nancy Pelosi? Chuck Schumer? Is it Joe Biden? How about Harris? Is she threatened? Is she in danger of going to jail? How about Hunter Biden? No? None of them? Who's the DOJ going after? Who has 94 felonies on his record at the moment? Oh, Trump. Trump is being prosecuted right now. So they're going after Trump using the DOJ. So it sounds a lot like reflection here. Sounds like reflection. Or projection. Sorry, not reflection, projection. Sounds like projection here. Oh, man. Everything this is what I've noticed. A lot of things that a lot of Democrats say, not some of the moderates, sometimes they make valid criticisms. But a lot of Democrats and their media lackeys, what they like to do is that they will accuse Trump or somebody from the Republican Party of doing something, but it's actually projection because they're the ones doing it. Trump will not hand over, power if he loses. He did in 2020. And Biden is saying that there won't be a peaceful transition if Trump wins. This just came out during his interview most recently. That he said if Trump wins, there might not be a solid transition of power. Why not? He won. Why wouldn't you have a peaceful transition? Sounds like projection, people. Sounds like projection. Weaponizing the DOJ? Biden himself, in the last debate that went horribly for him, he said Trump has a lot more cases coming his way. He said this during the debate. How would he know that? How would he know that? Is he in touch with these people? Is he egging them on? Is he supporting them to prosecute a political rival? Wow, that sounds a lot like what she is projecting here. What she's saying. Who's the real bad guys? It's like that. What was that one movie? I can't remember it, but the line is like, "Are we the baddies?" Yeah. Yeah.
And give himself unprecedented power over agencies like the FCC and FTC. These are just the things he wants you to know about. Trump has plenty of regular crazy stuff in Agenda 47 too, like how he wants to found new freedom cities across the country and somehow give Americans access to flying cars. The whole thing.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Who wouldn't want a flying car? Come on. If it was possible, if this was an actual reality, who wouldn't want a flying car? I don't know anybody that wouldn't take that chance, man. Unless you were really scared. If you're not a fan of driving in the first place, then I can see it. But anybody that's like, a motorcycle enthusiast, fast car drivers, they would jump at the chance to get a flying car. Why is that a bad thing?
Thing is weird as hell, like everything Trump does. But there's nothing funny about Agenda 47 or the possibility that he might be president again.
Yeah. This just seems like a lot of projection. She might be one of these paid influencers. They got 20K for this little rant here. But any Republican or MAGA supporter is probably gonna love it. It's just the way it is. Okay, so now that she talked about Agenda 47, let's take a look at this post from Lara Loomer. I suggest you follow her, by the way, if you like to have a lot of news as it's happening. She's really good. She's actually pretty diligent about getting the scoop on the newest stuff that comes out. So here she has President Trump's 20 core promises to make America great again. So I just wanted to go over it real quick. Okay, number 1, seal the border and stop the migrant invasion. Sounds good. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. Also sounds good. Guess what happens when all these people leave? A lot of the government spending stops, which means less taxes, which means more opportunities for you, which means more resources. They're not getting soaked up by these illegal immigrants, which means less crime because there's less people to commit it, less violence, less vitriol, less congestion. Sounds good to me, man. End inflation and make America affordable again. Hell yeah, man. Everything is crazy right now. You get a number 1 anywhere, it's $15. Just 10 years ago it was $5. Now it's $15? Come on, man. $15 for a number 1? Anywhere you go. I don't care where it is. Bread is like damn near $4. Milk is at $4 or $5. Eggs. This is just some basic stuff. Let's not even get into meat. You get a prime rib anywhere, it's like $60, $70. It's insane. Gas everywhere is up by like at least 50%, if not more. Here in California, not too long ago, we were paying $7 on the gallon. $7. It dropped now to like $4.69 in some gas stations. Some places it's at $4. You go anywhere else in the country, they're gonna be like, damn, that's high. They're paying like 3 something at the moment when they used to be paying like $1.30. And if you're wondering why it's so high here in California, thank Gavin Newsom, liberal prick. Okay, next one. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far, and that is a great thing because it's going to lower prices a lot, or maybe not lower prices. Well, it will, because then like the transportation costs is going to be extremely low, so they're going to be able to lower prices that way. But at the same time, it's going to make America extremely wealthy. And you might be thinking, well, how is that possible? Well, this is the thing. If America was isolated, you only have the money that's within the country, the wealth that's within the country. So it flows, backflows, whatever, depending on how people spend. So if anybody's hoarding everything, then that means that there's a bunch of poor people. A way to go ahead and uplift America and make it even more wealthy than it is that you outsource either services or goods to the rest of the world and you take their money. That's how basic business and profit works. And so America doesn't make a lot of stuff. We outsource a lot of our manufacturing to other countries because it's cheaper. The regulations are too strenuous here. They're choking out these businesses. The taxes that they got to pay are up the fucking wall. The labor that they got to pay for if they were to put it here is too much. Take a look at most of the United States right now. Like, they're demanding $20 minimum wage. You think that's gonna lower prices? I don't fucking think so. $20 minimum wage, that's gonna hike everything up because all these employers have to pay their employees each $20 on the hour for doing mediocre fucking work. That's entry level work. Oh man. And so if you don't believe that America will become rich because of them producing, oil and, exporting it out to other countries that are going to pay really good money for it, I give you this. How did Venezuela become one of the richest nations in the world like 30 years ago? How did they do it? They weren't selling baby bottles. It wasn't the internet. It was oil. They found oil in their land. So they started selling it to other countries like crazy. Became one of the wealthiest nations in the world. And the reason why it's a shithole now is because they overextended themselves in their public, what would you say, handouts. All these governmental programs that they instituted in order to make everything free. Free healthcare, free schooling. So they just kept spending and spending and spending and spending until they essentially went bankrupt. So much so that their money is worthless. You couldn't even give it away. They were throwing it in the trash because it didn't mean anything anymore. There was reports that they were eating zoo animals because they were so hungry. What happens when you devalue your money? No other country is going to give a fuck about your money anymore because it's a joke, because you owe so much. So you're not going to be able to import any goods anymore. That's why they were starving, because no other country would do business with them. Because they didn't have any money to spend. Their credit was overextended. They hit the deadlines. Collectors were coming in. All these bleeding hearts out there, oh, we need to do so much for the illegals. They just want to come here and have the American dream. That's fine if you want to help somebody. But don't help them with other people's money. That's like you going to a homeless person and be like, oh man, poor guy. I want to help you, dude. Hey, you over there, give this guy $100. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. How dare you not give him money? How much are you going to give him? $1. Why am I going to give him $100 if you're only giving $1? You're a bigot. You hate disenfranchised people. You are privileged. How dare you not giving him a chance? That's lefty liberals for you, right there. They love spending other people's money. Okay, next on this agenda. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into manufacturing superpower. That's how China makes their money. That's how they do it. They have vast amounts of manufacturing in their area, and America outsources a lot of their manufacturing to China, especially when it comes to medicine. And so that's how they keep afloat. That's how you gain a lot of wealth by selling all your stuff to other nations and taking in their money. That's why China's GDP is damn on par with America's, if not more. So that's why Trump wants to do it. He wants to make America even richer by manufacturing things here, drilling for oil and then selling it to other nations to get their wealth to come into America. So Americans prosper. It's basic. Simple. Okay, and let's see. Large tax cuts. Oh my God. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Now, this is a huge one that Trump did that's gaining a lot of ground. So much so that Kamala went ahead and adopted this very talking point, this very campaign promise. You don't believe me? Trump said this, he instituted this promise over a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, back in June. And you can go back and look at his rallies in June and July. He said it during the, July 13th rally when he was in Pennsylvania, when he got shot. He said it then. And then Kamala just came out with this now at one of her rallies. Where are we at? Where you at, man? Had you here. Let's just look it up. Let's do it live. Let's do it live. All right, this is from a Hill. They're pretty neutral. They're left leaning for sure. Harris blindsided Democrats with no tax on tips plan. She just came up with this. This is 8/14, so this is extremely recent that she came up with this original plan. I would say, being ironic because it's not original at all. But key Democratic lawmakers and progressive activists have raised serious concerns about the substance of the proposal to shield tipped income from taxation, worrying it would leave out many lower and middle income workers who are just as deserving of tax relief but don't work for tips. Policy experts also question on how such a proposal could be drafted without having major impacts on economic behavior, potentially costing the federal government much more than $100 billion to $200 billion in its current projected to add to the national debt over the next 10 years. Okay, so they're basically criticizing it, but they are saying that Kamala promised this, that she said no tax on tips. So we just saw from Trump's, promises that he said the same thing, but he said it first. That's how desperate she is. She's stealing campaign points from Trump. And it's kind of ironic, too, that she's saying this because apparently the whole reason that this was a problem is because Joe Biden instituted this in his Inflation Reduction Act. He said we're going to tax tips now in order for the federal government to start gaining more money to add to the national debt to try to relieve it. And it was a 50-50 vote in the Senate. Okay, so half of them were for it and half of them were against it. Guess who's the deciding vote to pass it was? Let's hear it from her own mouth.
And eliminate taxes on tips for service and hospitality workers.
And there you go. Said it herself. Now no denying it now.
A few moments later.
Biden seems intent on taking your earnings hostage. Now, the IRS, they just announced this week that they want to start tracking all of the tips that workers earn so that they can be taxed for it. So much for Biden's sacred promise not to raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year. Remember, this is all part of Biden's so-called Inflation Reduction Act.
The yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the vice...
Equally divided, which means both sides are nay and yay. So, she is the deciding vote because she's the vice president. Let's see what she goes with. And this is because in the Inflation Reduction Act, this is going to determine whether they're going to tax tips or not. If it goes forward, they're going to tax tips. If it goes against the act, then they're not going to tax tips. Let's see what she chooses.
President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
There you go. So the very woman back in 2022 decided to tax your tips, but now because it's an election year, she's going back and she's saying no tax on tips. We're going to take it away. Remember what I said earlier? What is the government cycle? They create the problem, they let it ferment, they promise they're going to get rid of it, and then when you reelect them, they don't do shit. She's the one that created the problem. She created the problem for working class by taxing their tips. And now here she comes trying to be the white whore. Don't worry, guys, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix the problem I created. Hopefully you forgot, because you Gen Zers don't have a attention span of a freaking Cocker Spaniel. You don't remember that. That wasn't me. You know, she's Shaggy. Hey, weren't you the one that instituted that policy? Wasn't me. She caught me in the shower. Wasn't me. She caught me hanging on the sofa. Wasn't me. It's Kamala right now. Wasn't me. But you taxed us. Hey. Wasn't me. But you were the deciding vote. Hey. Wasn't me. You can't make this shit up, man. Oh my God, people, you gotta wake up to this stuff. It's happening all around you. Let's see. Have we gotten to her running mate yet? If I got everything off of Kamala, I want to make sure I got all that out before I move on. I was going to go over the stolen election stuff, but I think everybody pretty much knows what's going on. I'll just go over it really quickly. Okay, so it's been pretty much announced that in several states, there is clear violations of election law that happened in 2020. Clear violation laws that were done. So let's take a look at a few of them. So right here, Georgia State Election Board has been forced to admit in writing that Fulton County failed to upload and tabulate election results in their entirety in 2020. Oh, so what does that mean? Fake votes were reported in multiples of 4,800 votes in Georgia, 6,000 in Pennsylvania in identical fashion. Wow. Identical fashion. So they did the same process in both Georgia and Pennsylvania. Why would they do that? Who were they for? It usually only goes one way. Who's the one that won again? Who won 2020? Oh, Biden. So all these errors, as like they like to say, errors, they were in favor of Biden. Quite the coincidence. Let's say New York Times election report reveals 104,984 stolen votes in Georgia, 347,768 in Pennsylvania. I think Trump only lost those states by less than a percentage point. 100,000 in Georgia and 300,000 in Pennsylvania, that means Trump wins. Wow, isn't that interesting? Oh man, I don't want to, throw out the election was stolen, but apparently the scandal of the century, how election was stolen, that headline says it all. Cleanest election of all time in 2020, guys. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe it. Even though, you see it with your own eyes. Oh, even a Georgia election board member apologizes to the people for not taking election fraud claims seriously after overwhelming evidence. Let's see what she has to say. This could be a hoax, guys. I don't know. Maybe she's talking about falafel.
One county, 3 counts, and 3 different results.
That's the way I like to count.
That's how I like to count.
300.
Why is that a problem? Well, when it comes to, wanting to be accurate, that's like, let's say you have, a business. You're running a business, and you have you want to run the numbers at the end of the night, and so your receipts say one thing, right? How much money should be in the register because of all the purchases being made, but the cash register says another. If you were the owner, you'd be pretty pissed. Like, we're losing. So the receipts all say that we should have so much money. Let's say 4,800 in the register. And you look in the register, and there's only 1,084. That doesn't add up. Okay, let me count it again. Let me count all the receipts just to make sure I'm not off. Count all the receipts. Okay, now it says 4,980. Or you come up with the same number, 4,832. And you go to the register. Okay, I counted very carefully, and it's only 1,902. It raised a little bit, so I did miss some, but that's nowhere near equal. Let me do it one more time. 4,000, whatever I said. Okay, so all 3 times that was the same. Let me go back to the cash register. Okay, it's still 1,900 and something. Okay, something's off here, man. What the hell? Either there's a hole in the register and the money's falling through to the floor behind the counter, or someone's stealing shit. There's money missing. This cannot be tolerated. Who closed tonight? Get their ass in here. You're fucking fired. That's what would happen. That's what would happen if a business found out that they were losing money. They would fire that person immediately, or even charge them with larceny.
380,761 ballot images from one county from Election Day on the first count that are not found.
Lock them up! Boo! Lock them up!
17,000
missing ballots that they counted, and they're missing. They're counting fake money. Hey, what? I'm running the business. Like, it's on the receipts, but the bills aren't there. Are they counting fake money? They substituted with Monopoly? The hell? Why is there a boardwalk in here? I didn't buy St. Paul's Place. What the hell is free parking? What's that worth?
1,852 ballot images from the recount that cannot be found.
Convenient. Very convenient.
Fraud of ballots or vote counts that were duplicated.
Oh no.
Which means that they kept running the same ballot over and over again to up the count.
Think about it. First count, 528,776. Second count, 525,293. Third count, 511,727. and a final count of 527,925. Those numbers don't match.
What are you going to do?
This is supposed to be the same batch of ballots, by the way. And all 3 times they counted them, they didn't come up with the same number. That's fraud, people. That's fraud.
Now, let me tell you,
Lock them up.
I'm an old doctor. I'm an old surgeon.
Lock them up.
When I operate, we count every needle, every sponge, and every instrument that's used in the operating room when we operate on the patient. We count them by hand. We count them 3 times. And if they don't match,
We got a problem.
we don't leave the operating room.
Oh, but Fulton County, unfortunately, in some places, including Fulton County, they had a little bit of a problem. So they had to stop the count in the middle of the night at 1 a.m. Oh, we have a water leak. Sorry, we can't count anymore because the place is getting flooded. Oh, for some reason, there's something wrong with the counting machine, so, we gotta stop the count tonight, which has never happened before, by the way. The results were always tabulated the night of, going into the morning continuously, until all the votes were counted, and then the election was either called, or, they started doing their official count after the fact, to make sure that everything was on the up and up. But they stopped the count this time, in 2020. Because of these, inconveniences. Very, unusual, a little suspicious. And then in the middle of the night, in a few of these counties, all of a sudden, Biden got a huge boost in votes. In Pennsylvania, he got over 800,000 new votes in the middle of the night at 4 o'clock in the morning. Because as of, I think it was like 1:30 in the morning, Trump was up by nearly 900,000 votes in Pennsylvania. And then at some point at 4 in the morning, when no one, damn it, I keep hitting this thing, when no one was supposed to be in these places counting ballots, for some reason somebody came back and was like, I could work through the night, even though we told everybody to leave. And there's nobody actually monitoring us counting these things, which is the law, by the way. There's supposed to be poll watchers there watching you, count these ballots and making sure everything was on the up and up. We're just going to count them anyway. I'm doing my civic duty. I'm one of those, overachievers here. And, just so happens that 800,000 votes came in, and they were all for Biden. Every single one of them. Oh, look at that. I forgot a box underneath this table full of ballots that I didn't count. Well, all the watchers were here. Oops, silly me. Let me pull these out from under the table. Oh, yeah, here's another batch I forgot. Oh, yeah, another batch I forgot under that table, too, that nobody could see. Let me pull that out. Oh, Evans just showed up. Hey, guys. Hey, how did you know to come here? Didn't you know we were closed? Oh, you didn't get the memo? Go ahead. Bring him in. Bring him in. Let's work through the night. Oh, we did it all in an hour? We counted all these votes, these 800,000 votes in an hour? Damn, we are good. We are good. The machine can only count 125,000 in an hour. Well, the machine works miraculously with us. Okay, we were able to count damn near 1 million votes in an hour. We are awesome. You should give us a raise. What are you talking about, suspicious? You should give us a raise for this shit. And miraculously, every vote was for Biden. None for Trump. That county that we got these from, they hated Trump. Not one person liked him. Nothing wrong here. There's nothing to see.
I'm just saying, after 3 years of the diligent and dedicated hard work of a Middle Georgia engineer who complained about the counts not being correct in this one county, It took us 3 years to hear this case.
Remember what I was talking about earlier about how Democrats function? They cut off their ear to spite their face. They just bulldoze through. Bulldoze through. Okay, so maybe we went ahead and might have cheated a little. Maybe a little. Just to get us over the hump. It was only a little. But it doesn't matter because we won. We won. Okay? Get over it. All right? It was in the past. It was 3 years ago. So you found out now. Big whoop. It was 3 years ago. Let it go. Okay? We're not going to do it this time. We're not going to do it this time in 2024. Okay? Whatever. You're a drama queen over here. It was only one election. Come on. And maybe you don't believe this. Maybe this girl is lying. Maybe she's lying. Maybe all of these people, made up these numbers. Maybe they made up the numbers. Maybe you don't believe them. Where's that one at? Oh, here's somebody that's actually came out and said that they did it. They confessed. This is a confession. They posted online stupidly. Clear interference. 2020 was stolen. Democracy is dead, which it is. You saw it in real time. Kamala was installed without one vote. Without one vote, democracy was totally subverted. Democracy is dead. It is. We are in a banana republic now. Congratulations, America. You fell so fucking hard in your face. It's unbelievable. Okay, so why aren't the FBI and DOJ looking into this? Because they're in on it. They're in on it. In on it. Oh, sorry. Oh, I had something, some truth in my throat there. Okay. Keel Foxton. Time to come clean. I work for Wayne County, Michigan, and I threw out every Trump ballot I saw. Tens of thousands of them. And so did all of my coworkers. I regret nothing. I'm doing the whole Dumb and Dumber thing. Who's the dead man that stole all the votes? Yeah. Wow. This guy just came out saying it. That is brave. And like he said right here, he doesn't regret anything. He think he did the right thing. When the Trump assassination happened, everybody was blaming everybody else for stirring up hateful rhetoric, and it led to a shooting. The Democrats need to stop it because it resulted in a shooting. Well, the Republicans do it too. We need to calm everything down. It was your fucking guy it was a guy of your supporter that fucking did it. He was registered Republican. Did he vote for Trump? No. Who did he vote for? A rhino? Oh. Did he donate to a political, organization? Yeah. Which one? Oh, it was a Democrat one. It was Act Blue. Oh. So the only time he, gave up his money, he gave it to a Democrat organization. But he registered as Republican because he's obviously on your side. Obviously, he registered as a Republican. Duh. He shot Trump. It was because he loves him so much. When you love something, you shoot it. Don't you guys know this? When you love something, you smother it to death with love. That bullet had a heart on it. Didn't the forensics pick that up? Come on, man. It was a whole Deadpool thing. When he shot the gun, the casing came out, had a love Trump on it. Can't believe nobody saw that. Yeah, man. Cut off your ear to spite your face. And then they tell him, hey, old news. Old news, man. So what? He confessed. So what? Oh, and so we get into Kamala Harris's running mate, Tim Walz. It was a bit of controversy when they picked this guy because of his policies in Minnesota. He was totally BLM at that time in the 2020 riots. He told his police department, stand down. COVID is out. You know, these people are, out there just exercising their First Amendment. How about everybody else? Oh, they have to go inside. It's COVID. You know, you don't want to hurt their grandma. You know, be a responsible citizen. What about all these BLM rioters? Like I said, First Amendment. What if I want to go out and advocate for something else? Nope. Only them. You have to stay your ass inside. What are you going to do if I don't? I'm going to send my police department to shoot you with paintballs. What? Yeah. Want to catch a frozen paintball in your ass? You got to stay your ass inside. This is true, by the way. This is not hyperbole. This is exactly what he did in 2020 and 2021. Holy shit. You want to look up that story. Oh, man. So we have this big old left-leaning liberal hack, Walz, that has crazy policies, so much so left-leaning, that he put in a bill and passed it that said that he's going to install tampons in boys' bathrooms. Because all boys have vaginas, apparently. Or some boys have vaginas. I didn't know this. I took basic biology, and no boys have vaginas as far as I know. But apparently in Minnesota, there's like mutations going on. Not like the X-Men mutations, but, the other kind. And I guess boys can have vaginas now. Do they have penises? Nope. Just JJs. But they're still boys? Yeah. Crazy, huh? Yeah. It's weird. It's weird in Minnesota. Let's see what this video is about. Oh, yeah. So he got a lot of backlash because he keeps referring to his service, because he was in the, in the National Guard. And, he served in the United States military through the National Guard. And he makes a lot of grandstanding statements, kind of like Biden. Biden was with Mandela when they got arrested and beaten, and I forget where, when he actually wasn't. And he walked in the Pride Parade. He went to black churches. That's where he grew up. He grew up in the Filipino town. He grew up in the Taiwanese town as well. He was like, he's the man of the world, type of guy, Biden. And this guy is doing the same stuff where he's like, yeah, man, I was under fire in Afghanistan. I went over there and served my country. Weapons. Normal Americans should not have weapons of war like I used in Afghanistan, making grandstand statements like that. There's only one problem with that, though. Only one problem. He never went to Afghanistan. Never went. And so, this is causing a lot of people to accuse him of stolen valor. And he's a little upset about that. Kamala's a little upset about that. But he's basically saying, how dare you? How dare you attack my record, because I served in the military and every veteran deserves respect for their service. Yeah, a lot of veterans, mostly all of them, deserve respect for their services. Thank you very much. But when you lie about it, about certain aspects of it, it just puts a sour taste in our mouth. People don't like being lied to. Let's go back to that one. So right here, this is NBC News, by the way. Tim Walz misspoke when he discussed using weapons in war, campaign says. Kamala's only been the nominee for 3 weeks, and Walz has only been her running mate for like a week. Maybe a week and a half. And he's already lying about his own record. Shoot, man. They caught him on it like that. And the campaign had to literally come out and do a retraction. He misspoke. Yeah, Biden misspeaks all the time. Let's see what he says. Been there, done that. Walz might have said, not only is he a teacher, Walz is also retired command sergeant major in the National Guard who served a tour of duty in Operation Iraqi Freedom during his 24 years of military service. At that time, he was deployed overseas with his National Guard Field Artillery Unit in Operation Iraqi Freedom. Okay, on March 20, 2005, after learning of his unit's impending deployment to Iraq, Tim Walz congressional campaign issued a press release claiming he would deploy with his men. Spoiler, he did not. There's a little quote down there. It's a little hard to see. I don't want to speculate on what shape my campaign will take if I am deployed, but I don't have plans to drop out of the race. I am fortunate to have a strong group of enthusiastic supporters and a very dedicated, intelligent wife. Both will be a major part of my campaign, whether I am in Minnesota or Iraq. So this is what he's claiming in 2005.
Hi, my name is Tim Walz, and I'm running for Congress here in southern Minnesota for several important reasons. But today I'd like to tell you about one issue that's...
Let's see, July 2009, 2006, so this is a year after he made those claims. After the debate, Walz received criticism for misrepresenting his service, so he sent a clarification letter on July 29, 2006 to local papers stating he retired as a command sergeant major in May of 2005. And I don't think the claim is that that's not true. The changes from CSM E9 to MSG E8 to Walz's official military record occurred on September 9, 2005, 10 months before his conclusion. In his clarification, Walz knowingly doubled down on his lie. So he wasn't a sergeant major.
Background?
I spent 24 years in the National Guard, some of that full-time. I was an artilleryman. I deployed in support of Operation Enduring Freedom.
I have a unique privilege in Congress, is that by being elected from this district and being a retired command sergeant major, I am the highest ranking enlisted soldier to ever serve in Congress since the beginning of this nation.
And both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OEF, OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us to be nice when we went home. And this was early in this conflict, in 2003, 2004, when my...
In 2007 congressional hearing on PTSD, then Rep. Tim Walz claims that he and his unit returned from deployment earlier in the war. They didn't receive extensive screenings for physical injuries, but only a 20-minute talk from the chaplain. In 2008, Tim Walz endorsed a book titled Winning Your Election the Wellstone Way that contained a section on Walz falsely describing him as a National Guardsman who served in Afghanistan.
I spent 25 years in the Army, and I hunt. And I gave the money back, and I'll tell you what I have been doing. I've been voting for common sense legislation that protects the Second Amendment, but we can do background checks. We can do CDC research. We can make sure we don't have reciprocal carry among states, and we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
I stood one night in the dark of night on the tarmac at Bagram and watched a military ramp ceremony.
It's fake, fake, fake.
Oh, well, if it didn't really go over it there, basically why this is so troubling is because Tim Walz never deployed to Afghanistan. He retired from the Army just prior to going. So when he's talking about I took part in Operation Iraqi Freedom, no, we didn't. He never went. He never deployed with his unit. So that's why everybody's in an upheaval about his record, because he lied about it. And then all these things about, oh yeah, I like the Second Amendment, but normal citizens should be carrying weapons of war like I did. No, you didn't. You never went to war. You didn't. You were here. And that's why everybody's all upset. So, unfortunately, stolen valor, stolen influence, stolen support, stolen ideas, stolen accents, stolen elections. Man, like nothing is real about this campaign. Not a damn thing. Fake AI images to show that you have a crowd when you might or might not. But we saw the pictures. Either Atlanta or Las Vegas has a serious mutant problem, or something else is going on. Oh man. And yeah, so another thing
Clear
that's
over 80%.
so another thing that's going on is that because of this controversy regarding his record, veterans are coming out and like condemning this dude because anybody that served in the army that actually saw battle and then somebody claiming that they saw battle when they didn't, that's a huge slap in the face to anybody that's ever been through it. And people are coming out and nailing this guy for it. Here's a video of it.
Over 80% of our students miss less than 10 days of in-class learning.
I won't forget when you illegally banned physicians from prescribing medications for early treatment, fracturing the doctor-patient relationship.
I will never forget being forced out of my job at the VA of 20 years because of the vaccine mandates.
I won't forget when you decided which businesses were essential and which ones weren't.
You shut down stores, malls, zoos, everything, and we couldn't even go outside.
I'll remember when you sent.
In the liberal cities, you can look this up if you want. In the liberal cities, they deemed on which businesses were essential. So like grocery stores. I think they allowed Amazon to keep working. Hospitals, obviously. Some places they just seemed they labeled as essential places to function in order for society not to collapse. And everywhere else had to shut down, especially restaurants. Because the 6 feet mandate thing and masks and all that. And a lot of businesses had to, fold up because they weren't making revenue or like the stipulations that were being presented to them in order to function were so outlandish that there's no way that they would have been able to, keep running or keep up their revenue stream with the limitation that they were putting on them. And so all these places were in upheaval because movie studios were allowed to go ahead and continue to function. Movie studios? Really? They're essential? Movie studios. So they could keep making movies with hundreds of employees that are like side to side with each other because they're shooting scenes. Craft table service with like no separation of plexiglass. And they're all like shoulder to shoulder eating. Okay, some people may be like, well, maybe like, they want to, entertainment and stuff helps, bring people out of their funk. It helps, distract them from their, crappy lives that we're making them for them. That's kind of necessary. Okay, so that's necessary. How about strip clubs? That's essential. Regular strip clubs? No, regular strip clubs, that's disgusting. Can't open. Gay strip clubs. Whoa. Gay strip clubs. That can stay open. That can definitely stay open. Are you fucking with me? Nope. They are essential, man. The gay community, they need loving too. All right? And there's nothing more, inclusive than gay people showing off their junk to each other. That is essential in our, our environment. We want to be inclusive here. We want to make sure that they get their loving too. But I have to lay off like half of my employees because you won't let me open up the way I want. And I'm losing revenue over here. Doesn't matter. Gay people. Strip clubs. That's important. Yeah.
COVID positive patients back to the nursing homes, and you chose not to send them to the Bethesda COVID hospital. People died alone.
I won't forget to vote in November.
I will never forget how you closed our churches but left the liquor stores open.
I will remember how you promised us data on masks, and you never showed the data.
My child can't.
Just to let y'all know, masks don't work. They didn't work for COVID. People still got sick. Didn't do shit. COVID was in the air. Is your mask grafted onto your face? Is it sealed tight with like an air tank on your back so you can breathe? No. So when you're sucking air, not only was it going through your mask, it was going around your mask through the openings. Because you're breathing in, you're sucking in air. It wasn't protecting you from anything. COVID was in It's in the air, man. Unless you had like a freaking, an air tank on your back and like, a mask to cover up your whole face. So like, it was Ziploc tight and, no outside particles can get in. You're breathing in COVID, whether you wanted to or not. Masks were a joke. Even Fauci came out and said masks were a placebo. That's what they essentially were, is to make people feel good that they were protected, but wasn't actually doing anything. Look that up. You don't believe me? Look at what Fauci said about it.
Can't wear a mask, and I had to pull him from school.
And I remember how you divided us.
And another stupid thing is that when the restaurants did open up, but they still required masks, the stupid thing is that if masks work so well, what were these dumb policies to where you had to wear a mask in the restaurant when you walk to your table? Yeah. You have to keep it on. Saving grandma and everybody else. Okay, so how am I going to eat with a mask on? Oh, you can take it off once you sit down. Didn't you know that the virus only is above this height and up? You didn't know that? Once you sit down, you're below the virus level, so you're safe. You can take your mask off. Breathe in all you want. You're safe. Oh, I didn't know that COVID had a ceiling, in the atmosphere. Yep. Science, people. Believe the science.
People rioted, burnt our cities, and we were not allowed to gather with our families.
I will remember in November.
We won't forget in November.
I will never forget how you abandoned the most vulnerable Minnesotans by shutting down day programs for disabled adults.
I remember when you blamed Minnesotans when your mitigation strategies failed.
I will remember in November.
You put a limit on people who could come over to your house for Thanksgiving. I will never wear a mask again. I will never forget what you did to me and my friends. I will never wear a mask again.
Governor Walz, we are not your one Minnesota. We are real Minnesotans who are worried about our future, and we will remember in November.
Remember, the 5th of November. Gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot. First, the overture. Anybody know about where that line's from? V for Vendetta. It's a great movie. You should watch it. Okay, with all that, and he's kind of a groomer. Let's see this report right here. When he was a teacher, you saw that thing when he said that he was a teacher. As a teacher at Mankota West High School in 1999, Tim Walz served as the advisor for the Gay Straight Alliance Club. I'm sorry, but it's completely creepy and gross for adults to be involved in any clubs focused on sexuality and children. He reeks of groomer. Now, to be fair, the students asked him to be an advisor. He didn't develop the group or anything like that. But none of that shit should be in schools in the first place. This gender-affirming crap, transgenderism and all that shit, none of that should be in schools. You have a problem with that? Do it outside of school. School is for learning, the things that you would need to know out in the world in terms of, trying to get a job and how to function properly and, conduct yourself in terms of, when you're trying to get something accomplished. None of it has to do with sexuality. And the only reason they teach sex ed in some instances in some schools is because they didn't want, hundreds of girls or hundreds of thousands of girls getting pregnant. Because, in the teenagers, their hormones are going all over the place and they're having, they're getting off on each other every so often. So they're trying to mitigate the amount of, unplanned pregnancies. That's why that was a thing. But there's no reason for all of this transgender, stupid, gay, straight alliance because there's no chance of that. The only chance that you have a problem with is getting a disease, an STD. And guess what? Monkeypox is just around the corner. Just around the corner. The WHO just came out with an emergency announcement. Monkeypox is more dangerous than we thought. It is spreading like wildfire. Was it in the air like COVID? Nope. Do you get it by coughing on somebody? Nope. How do you get it? Through platelets? You mean blood? Yep. What's the most popular way it gets transferred? I don't want to say. Why not? Sex. Oh, through like, man and woman and stuff like that? No. Okay, so how does it normally get transferred? Man on man relations. So gay sex. Yep. So that's its primary travel through the populace? Yeah. Okay, so we don't have to really worry then. No, it's a huge problem. Huge problem. There's orgies all over the place. How many gay people are in the in the region? What's the what is their percentage of among the populace? It's high, super high. Didn't you know? Transgenderism and gayness is through the roof. It's damn near 50%. Really? Well, it's a huge problem. We have to address it. It's epidemic levels, COVID levels. Okay, well, let's go ahead and take a look. What is the percentage of homosexuality in the U.S. at the current state in 2024? According to a Gallup in 2024 poll, 7.6% of U.S. adults identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or something other than heterosexual. 7.6%, which I don't even believe that's the real number. And they're including all of the pretty much LGBTQ plus negative exclamation point, comma, period. What else? Semicolon, whatever else you want to add in there. All the other digits and grammar. 7.6%. So you want to go ahead and put in a state of emergency for a disease that gets transmitted through gay sex, essentially gay sex only. That's its primary, way of being transmitted. You want to put a huge referendum on everybody, on their travel, on what they can do, places they can go, services they can have. You want to put a huge referendum on that over less than 7% of the populace. Yes. Get ready, guys. It's coming. They're going to be in Minnesota with your freaking governor, Tim Walz, the way he is. You best believe he's going to crack down on your liberties real damn quick. Really freaking quick. All right. So closing this out, I wanted to just go and address the polls. Because just yesterday on the 14th, they were pretty much saying that, Trump's losing. He's losing, guys. It's all over. Kamala, she's getting so much support. The polls are showing it. She was down 3 or 4 points in the last 2 weeks, but ever since, the Kamala train, Kamala boat, whatever you want to call it, started really catching speed. She is outpacing Trump big time, and Trump is losing support, free falling for his stupid campaign tactics. So much so that she has taken the lead somewhere in some of her polls by 4 points and some by 11 points. So, damn, Trump is in trouble. But one guy has a dissenting opinion about the polls that are getting thrown out there. I mean, even conservatives are sounding the alarm. Tim Pool isn't necessarily conservative. He's kind of in the middle of the track, even more left-leaning, I would say. But even he was sounding the alarm. Hey, guys, the polls may be wrong, but I'm inclined to believe what I see, and we shouldn't give up, and you should keep campaigning, and you should be worried. Even Kelly, what's her name? Something Kelly. She came out and said, yeah, this is a problem, Trump. He needs to change his messaging. He's losing. This is just a real issue. Kamala is gaining steam. Can't know what to tell you. And I just couldn't believe it because I was like, well, what major has happened to have this major shift? Because it's like a 7-10 point swing the other way. Usually that only happens when something really dramatic happens, like a debate that went terrible for Biden, or Trump getting shot. He went up at least 3 points in some areas. But then Kamala has a major shift of 11% when she hasn't done anything. She hasn't, had any big event in which like something huge revealing had happened, or Trump never like offended anybody in any significant way to where it was like, oh yeah, that's gonna cost him. That's gonna cost him. I just couldn't believe it, and that this guy helped clarify something, and he's saying something that no one else said, and it has nothing to do with any scandal or any like backroom dealings or anything that's hypothetical. This is actually, you can look this up. So this is why I'm more inclined to believe this guy. He is, what's his handle? I think it's Tay America. Yeah, Tay America. Yeah, it's on YouTube. You can go ahead and go follow him. So let's see what he has to say.
States, and I'll fill in the map here. But as you click on each individual state, it's going to pull up the most recent polls that were done in the state, regardless of when those polling data were released to the public. Polling data, I should say. Now, if you look here, the Cook Political Report is actually the second most recent poll. The Trafalgar poll was actually done most recently, as it asked people between August 6th and August 8th who they were voting for. The Cook Political Report poll asked people between July 26th and August 2nd. Okay, just to kind of show you how long ago that was and how quickly time flies. Tim Walz was announced as Kamala Harris's VP pick. Do you remember what day? August 6th. So this poll was literally asking people who they were voting for an entire week before Tim Walz was announced as Kamala Harris's VP pick. That's how out of date this poll was, okay? And they stopped asking people who they were voting for on August 2nd. As of the date of this recording that this poll was released, August 14th is the date that I'm recording this video. Why did they sit on this poll for nearly 2 weeks before they released it? It doesn't take that long to confirm all the information, gather it up, and report it. 2 weeks? You don't think anything in the race of President of the United States has changed since Kamala Harris announced fraudster, stolen valor, socialist to the extreme left of Kamala as her running mate? Now that all the truth is coming out about how insane that guy is, that's persuaded a few people, I'm sure. So this idea that this is a recent poll, it isn't. It's not even close. This is 2 weeks old. And if you look at the most recent poll, that was actually done between...
So, as he was said, the reason why I didn't, I had a feeling that a lot of these things were either fraudulent or something was going on with them, he just explained it right there. They waited 2 weeks to report on a poll that was done back in August 2nd. Why'd they wait on it for 2 weeks? There's 2 more polls that came out after that. And then they reported it on the 14th. Because they wanted Kamala to look like she was gaining steam. Because the new polls that are coming out, it just happened today. People are like, oh, Trump's back on top. Whoa, weird. Weird that Trump's back on top. After 1 day? After 1 day, I guess that honeymoon's now over. Honeymoon's now over. All the steam she got, it just fell flat for whatever reason. I guess people have that bad of a memory. And they just realize, oh yeah, Kamala, what was I thinking yesterday? I'm all for Trump now. I'm all for Trump. Sorry, guys. I just had a brain fart for that 1 day. Sorry. No. They're using out-of-date polls. They're using a strategy to where, we want to go ahead and show that Trump is losing momentum while Kamala is continually gaining it. And they're going to continue to do it to where they're going to be polling people in certain areas on certain dates to show that she's gaining favor while not reporting it and keeping it on the back burner in their back pocket until there's such a time to where it's going to be the most effective and then release it. Just like they did right here. They held on to it for 2 weeks. You best believe they're going to be doing it again. Thank you, this guy, Tay America, for pointing this out. I knew there was something fishy going on, and thank you for explaining it, man. Yeah, you can't believe everything that you see. You have to go ahead and do the research yourself. All right. With all that being said, guys, all right, I've been going for 2.5 hours. I didn't expect to go this long, but damn, I did. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Anybody still watching, which is nobody, I'm talking to myself, which I was fine. If you did tune in for any period of time, I thank you very much. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell every time I go live again so you don't miss out. I'm going to try and make this more of a regular thing, coming up with different points like this. I like doing it. So, yeah. All right. So, go ahead and give the video a like if you would. That helps let YouTube know that you like what you're watching, and it helps the channel grow. And share it out if you like too. Yeah. All right. With all that being said,